So I've done 2 videos now about the wood stove this year, prior to this winter I should say, and they have both done amazingly well. In those videos I was explaining how there are a lot of government and municipalities that want to ban these or have banned these, and I was trying to explain why in one of the videos, and the reason is people don't run them properly. In that video I was explaining that you got to have dry wood. It's got to be 20% or less. And when you're doing oak, it takes all 2 years to dry that much wood. As a matter of fact, I'll put a up next box at the end of this video to that video. So if you'll just go and click it, you can watch everything I said. I won't go near the detail in this video about it because I want to talk about something else. The reason folks want to ban these stoves is people aren't running them correctly. Back in the 2010s, the EPA came out with a mandate that they had to run more efficiently, that only so many parts per million of pollutants could come out of this chimney on wood stoves. Wood stove companies started putting these air tubes in them, and these air tubes are what's called reburners, and they burn the smoke. So this one particular stove is about 85% efficient. But if you don't run dry wood, it doesn't work. The first year we had it, that's all we had was wet wood. And we knew we were going to have problems. And we had creosote in the chimney. Creosote is a tarry substance, very sticky. What it is all that water and wood particles. The smoke is wood particles, stick into the chimney. And it's very volatile because it's wood particles. And it catches fire. And it can actually melt your chimney and just catch the whole house on fire. People seem to have gotten this idea that they can do whatever they want in their homes in the United States. I don't know where they would have got such a crazy idea. You know, they keep calling about the Constitution and all that stuff. But as we know, nobody's following the Constitution anymore. And over time, no matter how hard we fight, they will end up banning these things because folks choose not to run them correctly. I got one guy telling me, oh, all you had to do is make a water heater into a wood stove. And all the smoke goes out and it'll do just the same thing. So what these government entities see, municipalities, is all this smoke coming out. They get a complaint from the neighbor, oh, John next door, his chimney is just filling my house with smoke. It's causing my asthma to flare up. You know, just all the stuff that they can imagine. And then, so that municipality says, okay, no more wood stoves. Then next time they build a house, there'll be an ordinance, no wood stoves. And we're already seeing it with other things like kitchen gas stoves, you know, cook food. There are several municipalities now, like LA and I don't know, Seattle, Portland, I think, New York. You cannot build a new home with a gas burning kitchen stove. And what they accused it of was, of course, the environment. But they also said it's bad for your health. You're going to die from using a gas burning wood stove. What makes me think they're not going to ban a wood stove, this old technology, over a gas stove? If they can ban a gas stove, they can ban a wood stove. But in these videos, I begin to realize that people were commenting, people are concerned about this coming winter. They really have no idea how they're going to heat their homes. Gas prices, electric prices, everything's going up. Of course, our car gas is going down, but as the car gas is going down, energy prices are going up. So Carolyn and I thought maybe we should start talking about alternative energies just to get us through this season, and then next season you'll be more prepared. My goal is for you to start collecting firewood right now. And hopefully by next year you'll have some firewood that's dry enough that you can use correctly. This will be our 3rd winter using this. Last year the firewood was right at 20%. So I was out there, I was testing every piece basically, bringing it inside, saying, oh yeah, I can use this one. But this year I have no problems. I mean, we're at 15% on this. I mean, this is just going to work out great. So perhaps if you started getting firewood now, by next year, it would at least be suitable to use. The first year we were here, we had creosote fires in the chimney twice. But last year we didn't have any problems. It was just so nice to have this wood stove last year. So much better than the first year. The first year, I mean, it was so frustrating. First of all, we lived in this tiny house. And I really couldn't let the flame die the first year we were here. I had to constantly keep the flame going, which means we had to have the windows open because it was so hot in here. But last year, when we had dry firewood, I could let it burn down completely, The stove would maintain heat for 4 to 6 hours without any flame in there at all. And the next time I wanted to start a fire, load it up, take my little blowtorch here, and within 2 minutes, the fire was up and running. That's how simple it'll be. Well, this year's even going to be better because this is even drier than it was last year. So I'm pretty excited about this winter. But I got to thinking, what are you going to do if you're worried about energy prices this winter? Well, there's still time. You may not be able to go down and cut a tree down right this minute. You may not have that ability, but you could call someone to bring you some firewood. I think it was 2 years ago we bought firewood, and it was $200 for a cord of firewood. It may be a little higher now, but if you figure this little tiny house needs a cord per year. So it would have been $200 per year. If your house is bigger, you're going to need more firewood, obviously. So my theory is you probably could double that. And so you'd be $600 for 2 cords of wood if you had a 400 square foot house, for example. Maybe you could block off some of your house so you didn't have to heat the whole thing. I had a 1,200 square foot house, and in the wintertime, we'd block off the bedroom, which was the master bedroom. It was huge. And my ex-wife and I would sleep in the pull-out couch bed. So you could do things like that this winter to try to reduce your cost. It depends on how bad the gas prices are. So if you got a wood stove right now and you called somebody to bring you out some firewood, here's what you would have to do to make this work. The first year, what we did was, like I said, we never let the flame go out because it was just so hard to get the flame to start back up. I remember one morning I got up at 2 a.m. and the flame had went out, and I spent 2 hours in the middle of the night trying to get it to start back up. So you got to set your alarm. You got to get up a couple times during the night, probably about every 3 hours. You certainly have to get one of these. You can get these off Amazon. They're a little billow. They blow air. Doing it one-handed. So you get one of those, and then you could, get those coals to turn cherry red and catch your logs on fire. I didn't have this the first year. Last year, this came in a little bit more handy. That would have worked out really well the first year. You got your head in there and you're trying to blow a flame going. The thing is if you decide to burn wet wood, you just as well commit yourself to having to clean the chimney probably 3 times throughout the season. We did it one time and we still had 2 chimney fires. With it being dry firewood, we didn't have to clean it basically. I mean, we did clean it after the winter, but there was nothing in that. It was completely clean with the dry firewood. The other thing is you're going to have to get your chimney hot enough that it'll burn out. You can also buy some of these chemicals, chimney cleaner chemicals. You can throw in on the flame and it goes up there and kind of crystallizes the tarry creosote, and you put that in there maybe once a week. Do everything you can to minimize your chances of catching a fire. My grandparents used to burn wet wood way before this technology came out, and they did every Wednesday they would clean the chimney. Now there is a little bit of debate whether you should take the air tubes out. The air tubes, like I said, are reburners. They burn the smoke. If you leave the air tubes in, they can get clogged up. You're going to have to clean them a lot. We left ours in. The reason I say leave them in is because you do have fire brick up here. It's not really fire brick, it's insulation. The same stuff that's right here is up here. And you don't really want to remove that. Now, I don't know, this stove isn't sold anymore, but you can go to Home Depot and pick up stoves just like this. But if I took the air tubes out, those bricks would fall down. I wouldn't be able to use them. So we left them in there because that holds heat. It's important to hold the heat. You will not run near as efficient with wet wood. If you take these out, a lot of the heat will just go out the chimney. And in that case, you're going to have a damper up here, which they say you're not even supposed to put a damper in with these type of wood stoves. So you're going to be violating a lot of rules is what I'm saying. So if you take the air tubes out, you got to have a damper. If you leave the air tubes in, you don't have to violate the rules, the instructions and the federal law and all that. And you can keep the damper out. The other thing is about 80% of the time, well, maybe not that high, let's call it 60% of the time, you're going to have to burn this thing with the door open. The problem with leaving the door open is it definitely decreases the amount of heat that is produced into the room. And it's noticeable. Now remember, we live in a little tiny house, 200 square feet. It's the size of a bedroom. And it was notably different when we had to leave the door open to keep that flame going, because it just sucks air in and shoots it out the chimney. just as about, I mean, you can see the flames. The vent is right here in the front. So flames come up, and they roll this direction towards me, and then up. You can just see the flame shooting straight up. So the flame goes up, then back and out the chimney. Now when you close the door tight and you use it like you're supposed to dry firewood, you can control the temperature with this. And it gets much warmer in here with the door closed. It's incredible how this technology works. I'm not even sure why that makes such a huge difference. I guess because the air is being brought in through these air tubes and it's burning that smoke, whereas you leave that door open, you won't be burning the smoke. Smoke and flames just go straight out the chimney. So to get you through the season, although you're going to burn a lot more firewood, you may want to just go ahead and buy one of these. You can get them off Facebook Marketplace. We got this one for $450 and it was only used once. It was obvious it was only used once. The other day, Carolyn found a brand new one, not even out of the crate, so the guy said, for $300. People have yelled at me because this one, they say, is too big for your tiny house. The thing you have to understand about wood stoves is this one can heat up to 2,000 square feet. Yes, you can get a smaller wood stove, but if you're buying it used, you don't get to be picky. So you shop around the best you can, and you find one that's going to work for you. But this one, you can reduce the flame. All you got to do is stop putting so much firewood in it. I don't know if you can really judge how big this is, but that's about the size of the log I'm going to put in it. Now, most people will put in a 20-inch log, maybe that's almost 2 feet. This one may be just over a foot. It might be a foot. That might actually be too big. I might actually split that in half. Then I can lay it down in there. Now, how you do this is you lay 2 small pieces. I'll call this north and south. North and south. Then two pieces like this. Like I said, I'll probably split that. And then you run those 2 east and west. And then you run 2 more on top of that. Well, if you think about it, that piece is too big for the stove. So I will cut this in half to run my north and south pieces. So that's not even a full piece. I mean, this isn't a full piece. This is not the normal size log you would think that you would use. So you downsize the amount of wood that you put in your stove, and that's how you control your temperature. Not that I'm advocating that you violate the rules on this. It's dangerous. You can burn your chimney. Governments are going to complain about it. But if you're just trying to get through this winter, there's some options on how you can use your wood stove this year. Up next box at the end of this video to that video. So if you'll just go and click it, you can watch everything I said. So I hope I can inspire you to get away from the government so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.